Hi, my name is Sarah. Welcome to my video for my 2025 Pan That palette. This will be December's update and the final wrap up for the year, the finale. I'm going to talk about all of the progress I've made this year and also pans that I hit this last month and whatever other progress that there is to talk about. If you're new to my channel, I do mostly makeup panning content, makeup collection updates and things like that. I'm just playing around with makeup, using stuff up and enjoying it while it is still good. I'll be playing the whole slideshow from the beginning of this year to now at the end of the video. This month I hit 2 new pans. It was so close to 3 and I'm actually surprised and a little bummed that it was not 3, but the shade that I did not hit pan on is so close that it'll just be an easy pan for next year. So I'm not too bummed about it, but I still kind of am. I am wearing this palette on my eyes today, and I will post a more close-up picture, of course. So here is the palette in all of its glory after a whole year of panning it. Obviously, I didn't finish any shades, but that was never really my goal. I just wanted to use it as much as possible and hit as many pans as possible. So the 2 pans that I hit, I will point them out because it's not always obvious at first. I believe this was the first pan I hit in Smoky Quartz. It's a little shiny guy there. And then the second pan that I hit was in Ametrine here. And I believe the last update I mentioned that I am not going to do my usual goal of trying to use every shade at least once in the month because it's the last month and I just want to reach for whatever I want to reach for, and that is exactly what I did. I did work on expanding some of the pans just so that you could see them a little bit better at the very end because it's satisfying. And now I'll start with the total number of uses that I hit on each shade this month and also the final tally of how many times I used each shade this whole entire year. And as always, I'll be also putting the tally of how many times I used it in one of these corners. I always change it up, but it will be written out so you can see it as well. Starting with number 1, Diamond. This month I used it 3 times and a grand total of 145 times. Just to backtrack a little bit here, when I tell you the final tally number for the whole year, that also includes any prior uses that I may have used on the shades. This palette wasn't that used when I first rolled it in, so there were no major dips or anything. Like, it was hardly used, so I just counted all of the tallies because I like to know when I'm looking at a palette like how many times in its lifetime each shade has been used. So when I say the total, it means of the lifetime of this palette. Moving on to number 2, Rose Quartz. I used 7 times for a grand total of 83 times in the project, or its lifetime. A grand total of 83. Ruby, surprise, surprise, I did not use this month, and it has a grand total of 11 uses. Royal Jewels I did not use either, but it has a grand total of 178 times used. And it's still just a little tiny pan there. I used Fluorite 3 times this month. I tried to expand the pan, but I'm not positive that you'll actually be able to see a difference. But I did really enjoy using this. I was getting into the purple mood. Yeah. Moonstone, which is probably my favorite shade in this entire palette, I used 8 times this month and I really enjoyed using it, and that brings it to a grand total of 81 times used. My Precious, with by far the most uses out of this whole entire palette, I used 26 times this month, which was every time I did my makeup, and that brings it to a grand total of 346 uses. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes, so sorry about that if you don't like looking down, but I can't remember all these numbers. Moving on to number 8, Sunstone. I used Sunstone just once for a grand total of 43 uses. Pearl, I think, has the second most used shade. I used it 9 times this month for a grand total of 214 uses. Number 10, Citrine, I used just once for a grand total of 43 uses. Number 11, Garnet here, I used 1 time, grand total of 64 uses. Number 12, Ametrine, which is probably my favorite matte in this palette. It does have glitter, but it doesn't really bother me. It just fades away when you blend it out. I used that 18 times this month. I hit pan at 78 uses, and then I used it quite a few more times. So the grand total is 87 uses, and that's why you can actually like see this pan this time, because usually when I hit pan it's like dinky and like it's really hard to see. But I did use it like almost 10 more times after I hit pan because I like it that much. So good little shiny pan. Peridot I actually did not use at all this month, and it has a grand total of 26 uses. Your Gem I used just once, 32 total uses. Skipping over these 2 Frankens because like after the first month I made them, I haven't used them honestly. I should, but I don't. Anyway, number 15, Tiger Eye. I used this 17 times for a grand total of 62 uses. This was the shade that I really wanted to hit pan on, and it is so close, but I have not hit pan on it. I'm wearing it all over my lids today in one last big effort to try to hit pan, and it did not work. I'm even wearing it on my lower lash line. I think you'll be able to see in the close-up picture, but yeah, 17 times this month and still no pan. Looking back, I feel like I could have worn this more, but there were certain colors I wanted to wear this month that were a little bit more cool tone, so I opted to wear other shades instead of this one. But looking back, I really should have just used this one. But oh well, it will be an easy pan to hit next year, I'm sure. Maybe like 1 or 2 more uses. Like, I think it's really that close. Number 16 is a very pretty topper shade. I used this 3 times this month for a grand total of 64 uses. Geodude, this is a pan that I hit last month, and I used it 2 more times this month, surprisingly. Last update I said that I never wanted to touch it again, but there's actually a few looks that I thought would look good with it incorporated, so I did use it 2 more times, and the pan is a little bit more visible, so that's always fun. Carnelian I did not use. It has a grand total of 27 uses. Stoned I only used 1 time this month for a grand total of 110 uses. This is probably one that shows the least amount of use, even though it's one of the top ones that I use the most times, which is disappointing, but it's like so firmly pressed that I guess it makes sense. Number 20, Jasper, I used 1 time, and I did not use it as a liner. I know the dip in there is very liner shaped, but I actually used it on my outer corner this time, and that has a grand total of 65 uses. Turquoise, I did not use this month, but it has a grand total of 29 uses. Onyx, I used 6 times as a liner every time, and this is the shadow that I used as a liner for all my cool tone looks. So if I didn't want to reach for a brown, because brown and cool tones don't always go together, I reached for this black, and it does have glitter in it, but as a liner you can't really tell, and I think it works pretty good for lining. Okay, last row, home stretch. I did not use Emerald, and it has a grand total of 22 uses. Jade I actually ended up using once. I believe the picture that I'm going to show is using one of my Pan Those eyeshadows colors, and I was trying to make the green greener, and that's why I wanted to use Jade, to see if I could make the green of that one shadow more green. Alexandrite, this deep purple down here, I did not use. It has a grand total of 20 uses. Smoky Quartz, the other pan that I hit, I used 8 times, and it took 77 6 times to hit pan, and then I used it a few more times, and it has a grand total of 81 uses. Amethyst I did not use, and it has a grand total of 20, just like this other purple one down here. Weird, but okay. And Sapphire I used 5 times this month for a grand total of 85, and I really liked using this one to deepen out the wings that I have been doing that are blue. I have a blue in my pan, those eyeshadows, and I have been enjoying doing a wing with it, just as a liner, but I do deepen it up with the shade. And that is all the uses that I had on this palette this year. That is a lot of uses, and just for like a little bonus content, I'm going to show you my journal with all the tally marks that I have been keeping track of this whole year. This is not the one I was just talking about. This is like my end of the month tallies, but that's a lot of numbers too. And the underlined ones are the pans that I have hit. Here is the journal of the page of all the tally marks. So every time I used a shadow in a makeup look, I did 1 tally for each use, and it looks really satisfying to me. It has a lot of little lines. I just think it's so fun. And overall, if you weren't keeping track, I hit 15 pans out of the 28 shades in this palette. I'm so happy with that. I never thought I could hit so many pans in just 1 year. I'm so pleased, especially because this is my first official year of like actually trying to pan things. And so those numbers are like music. I love seeing all the divots. I definitely stare at this way too long on a daily basis. Every time I do my makeup, I just take a few, sometimes it's seconds, sometimes it's minutes, to just look at everything. This is like literally what I look like. I'm just like staring at the shades. Some of you can probably relate. Anyway, that is all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed all my monthly updates, and I do have a 2026 intro coming soon. I'm thinking about refilming the video that I did, because I did film the intro, but I have no idea what was happening with me that night. But I am so scatterbrained, like my thoughts are all over the place. I think I'm going to take a day to like make notes and like actually talk about what it is that I wanted to talk about with this new palette. I think that is what I'm going to do. My next video is actually going to be a makeup empties for the year, so that should be coming up really soon. So that should be the video right before this actually, so you'll have already seen it, so that's exciting for you. And my husband just got in the shower and had left the door open, so that is my cue to leave. And also I'm filming on December 31st, New Year's Eve, and so my neighbors are doing fireworks, if you just heard that boom. So I'm going to say goodbye now. So I will catch you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.